Don't wear this color combo after 60. Because if you are an apple shape carrying weight in your middle, one specific color pairing sitting in your closet right now is quietly making your silhouette look wider and older every single time you put it on. Not because of your body. Because of the colors themselves and how they are working against each other instead of with you. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you 5 color secrets that instantly change how any outfit reads on your body, starting with clothes you probably already own. Think about how quickly you can size up a stranger's outfit from across a room, long before you notice the cut of anything they are wearing. Your eye reads color first, faster than shape, faster than fabric, faster than almost any other detail. That same instinct applies to your own reflection every single time you catch it in a mirror or a photograph. Which means the colors you choose to put next to each other are doing an enormous amount of visual work before anyone even registers the actual style of what you have on. Most women think about color only in terms of which shades they personally like, or which ones supposedly flatter their skin tone in isolation. Almost nobody thinks about how two colors behave once they are standing next to each other on the same body, meeting right at the point where an apple shape carries the most fullness. But color relationships do something very specific and very measurable to the eye, deciding whether your silhouette reads as one long continuous line or as two separate, competing blocks stacked awkwardly on top of each other. I want you to know something right now, before we go any further. It was never your body creating that heavier, wider look you sometimes catch in a mirror or a photograph. It was almost always a color decision, often one you made without thinking twice about it, quietly working against the very silhouette you were trying to create. I am going to walk you through 5 color secrets today, counting down from 5 to 1, the exact color mistakes I see apple-shaped women over 60 make again and again, often with combinations they were specifically told were safe, classic, or universally flattering. Your body has never been the problem here. These are simple, learnable visual principles, the same color logic a stylist relies on every single day. And once you understand it, you will put outfits together completely differently for the rest of your life. I promise you this. The last secret on this list, the number 1 detail, is the one almost nobody has ever had explained to them properly, and it is the single biggest change you can make to how every single outfit in your closet reads on your body. It costs nothing extra to apply, and it works with clothes you already own just as well as it works on anything new. Once you understand it, you will start scanning your own closet completely differently, sorting pieces by a quality most women have never once thought to check for. So stay with me all the way to the end, because I really do not want you to miss it. Let's start at the beginning. Number 5. Wearing 2 strongly contrasting colors that meet directly at your natural waist. A light-colored top over dark trousers, or a dark top over light-colored bottoms, with nothing bridging the two. A crisp, high-contrast pairing can feel classic and put together. The kind of combination that shows up constantly in styling articles as a safe, foolproof choice. But here is what those articles rarely mention. Wherever 2 strongly contrasting colors meet, the eye reads a hard visual line at that exact point, almost like a horizontal seam drawn directly across your body. On an apple shape, that meeting point usually lands right at the fullest part of your midsection, and a hard color break sitting there does the same thing a tight belt or a straight horizontal seam does. Cutting your silhouette into 2 separate blocks and drawing attention squarely to the exact spot where the 2 blocks divide. The fix is choosing colors that sit closer together in tone, or building in a small connecting element that bridges the 2 halves of your outfit instead of letting them meet abruptly. A top and bottom in 2 different shades of the same color family, a soft camel over a deeper caramel or a dusty blue over a slightly darker navy, still gives you visual interest and definition without creating a stark line the eye cannot ignore. If you genuinely love high-contrast combinations and are not willing to give them up, a third element in a color that appears in both pieces, a scarf, a cardigan, or a piece of jewelry, gives the eye a bridge to travel across instead of stopping abruptly at the waist. This effect becomes especially noticeable in photographs, since a camera captures a single frozen moment with none of the natural movement that softens harsh visual lines in person. If you have ever looked at a photo from an event and felt like your top half and bottom half seemed strangely disconnected from each other, a hard color break sitting at your waist is very often the quiet reason behind that specific, hard-to-explain feeling. The same outfit photographed in tonal colors instead almost always reads as one continuous, more polished silhouette, even though nothing about your actual body changed between the two photos. This is worth remembering specifically for occasions you know will involve a lot of photographs, family gatherings, celebrations, anywhere a camera is likely to come out repeatedly throughout the day. Choosing tonal colors or building in a deliberate color bridge for these specific events protects you from exactly the kind of unflattering candid shot that tends to circulate for years afterward, long after the actual evening itself has been forgotten by everyone who attended. But the very next mistake flips something almost every woman has been told about the single most reliable, most slimming color choice available. So stay with me for this one. Number 4. Assuming that wearing all black from head to toe is automatically the most slimming choice you can make, no matter the occasion or the lighting. This belief has been repeated so many times, for so many decades, that most women accept it as simple fact rather than styling advice worth questioning. Black genuinely does recede visually more than bright, light colors, and there is real truth behind why it became the default recommendation in the first place. But black is not magic, and wearing it does not automatically create a slimming effect on its own, especially once you consider what black actually does under different kinds of lighting. Under warm indoor lighting or a bright camera flash, solid black can flatten into one undefined mass with no visible texture or shape at all, and rather than looking sculpted, it can simply look heavy and shapeless, with nothing to indicate where your natural curves and lines actually are. The fix is understanding that any single rich, saturated color worn head to toe creates the same elongating, continuous line that black is famous for, not just black specifically. A deep charcoal, a rich navy, a dark forest green, or a deep plum all recede visually in almost exactly the same way black does, while often looking considerably softer and more flattering against your complexion, especially as skin tone naturally changes with age. Monochrome dressing, meaning one consistent color family from top to bottom, is the actual principle at work here, and black simply happens to be one easy way to achieve it, not the only way, and often not even the most flattering way for every single skin tone walking through this exact styling advice. Many women over 60 notice that black, which once looked crisp and elegant against their complexion, has started to feel a little harsher or more draining than it used to, without being able to explain exactly why. This is a genuinely common shift as skin tone softens and changes with age, and it does not mean you have somehow lost your ability to wear a slimming color. It usually means the specific shade of black itself has become slightly less flattering, while the underlying principle of monochrome dressing still works exactly as well as it always did. Swapping pure black for a deep charcoal or a rich navy often solves this completely, keeping every bit of the elongating effect while warming up how the color sits against your face. A simple way to test this for yourself is holding a piece of pure black fabric directly under your chin in natural daylight, then holding a deep charcoal or rich navy in the same spot immediately afterward. Most women notice an immediate difference in how their skin looks against the two options, often without needing anyone to point it out, once they are looking directly at the comparison, rather than simply assuming black is always the safest bet by default. Number 3. Wearing a single bright or light-colored garment on its own, with nothing anchoring or grounding it elsewhere in the outfit. Light and bright colors behave very differently from dark ones when it comes to how the eye perceives size and volume. Lighter colors reflect more light back toward the viewer, which makes any area wearing that color appear to advance forward and take up more visual space than the exact same area would in a darker shade. Wearing a single bright white or pastel-colored top with nothing else in the outfit, to balance it draws the eye directly to that garment, and if it happens to sit across your midsection, the lightness itself adds a sense of visual volume on top of whatever fullness already exists underneath it. The fix is not avoiding bright or light colors altogether, since they can look genuinely beautiful and youthful at any age. It is being intentional about where you place them. A bright or light-colored top paired with a darker bottom half creates balance, letting the lighter color draw attention upward toward your face rather than existing in isolation across your whole silhouette. Alternatively, save your brightest, lightest colors for accessories or accents sitting away from your midsection entirely. A bright scarf, statement earrings, or a light-colored blazer worn open over a darker top underneath. So the brightness adds energy to your look, without concentrating visual volume directly where you do not want it. It helps to think of light and bright colors as a kind of visual volume knob rather than something to avoid entirely. Turning that knob all the way up across your whole outfit adds volume everywhere at once, which is rarely the goal on a fuller midsection. Turning it up only near your face, through a bright top with a flattering neckline, a colorful scarf, or bold earrings, channels all of that same energy and youthfulness upward, exactly where you want the eye to land first and linger longest. Summer months make this principle especially relevant since so many warm weather wardrobes lean heavily toward white, pastel, and other light colors specifically to help with heat and sun exposure. If your entire summer wardrobe skews light, look for at least a few pieces in a richer, more saturated summer-appropriate color, a deep coral, a rich teal, or a saturated berry tone, that you can use strategically as a bottom layer or anchoring piece whenever you want to wear something lighter up top, without losing that sense of balance across your whole silhouette. We are now more than halfway through this list, and if you are already picturing a specific outfit hanging in your own closet, that is exactly the point of this video. Color is one of the most overlooked categories in styling advice for fuller figures, mostly because everyone assumes it is purely a matter of personal taste rather than a set of visual principles with real measurable effects. Treated as pure preference when it is actually working like a language, your outfit speaks whether you intend it to or not. And remember, the number one secret on this entire list, the biggest change you can make, is still coming, so do not go anywhere yet. Number 2. Pairing two colors that have no relationship to each other at all, nothing shared between them, no connecting undertone, no repeated shade appearing anywhere else in the outfit. This mistake is subtle, and it often happens with colors that each look perfectly nice on their own, which is exactly why it goes unnoticed for so long. When your top and bottom share absolutely nothing in common, no matching undertone, no coordinating accent, the eye has no reason to read them as one continuous outfit. Instead, it registers two entirely separate visual events happening on the same body, and the point where those two unrelated colors meet, once again, it usually lands right at your midsection, becoming the dividing line between two things that were never designed to belong together in the first place. The fix is creating what stylists sometimes call a color bridge, a small, deliberate connection between your top and bottom that ties the whole outfit together into one cohesive visual story. This can be as simple as a belt in a color that echoes your shoes, a scarf that pulls in a shade from both pieces, or jewelry that repeats a tone found somewhere else in the outfit. Even choosing a top and bottom that share the same undertone, both leaning warm or both leaning cool, rather than clashing between warm and cool without any coordination, creates enough of a subtle connection for the eye to read the whole outfit as one deliberate choice rather than two unrelated pieces worn together by accident. A color bridge does not need to be large or obvious to work. In fact, the most effective ones are often quite small and easy to overlook consciously, even though the eye registers them instantly. A single thin belt, a pair of earrings, or even a nail polish shade that repeats a color from your top can be enough to tell the eye that everything you are wearing was chosen with intention, rather than assembled from two entirely separate parts of your closet with nothing tying them together. Now, before we get to the number one secret on this entire list, I want to explain exactly why everything else we have covered matters so much less without it. The color blocking placement, the monochrome principle, the light color anchoring, the color bridge, every single one of those fixes genuinely helps, but every one of them is still working around one central principle that decides more than all of the others combined. Once you understand this final piece, you will never choose an outfit by individual pieces again without also considering the one thing that actually ties them together. Number 1. Ignoring undertone consistency across your outfit, meaning whether every piece you are wearing leans toward the same warm or cool family, even when the actual colors themselves are completely different from each other. This is the exact principle almost nobody ever explains, and it might be the single most important concept in this entire 5-part series, more important than which specific colors you choose, more important than contrast, more important than almost anything else we have discussed today. Every color exists somewhere on a spectrum between warm and cool, and two colors can be nearly identical in shade while sitting on opposite ends of that spectrum, one leaning slightly yellow or orange, the other leaning slightly blue or gray. When you pair pieces with mismatched undertones, even if the actual colors look close enough on a hanger, something about the outfit reads as subtly off the moment you put it together. And that subtle wrongness often gets blamed on fit or body shape, rather than the true, invisible cause sitting right there in the undertones. Here is why this matters so specifically for creating one long, continuous line down your body. A true tonal outfit, one where every piece shares the same undertone family even across different actual colors, blends together almost seamlessly to the eye, creating exactly the kind of unbroken vertical sweep we have talked about throughout this whole series. A navy with a cool undertone paired with a gray that also leans cool reads as one harmonious column. That same navy paired with a warm, olive-toned gray creates a nearly invisible but genuinely perceptible clash. A seam the eye cannot quite explain but absolutely registers, usually landing right at the point where the two pieces meet across your midsection. This principle also explains why certain neutral capsule wardrobes, the kind endlessly recommended in styling articles, work beautifully for some women and never quite click for others, despite following the exact same shopping list. A capsule wardrobe built from pieces spanning both warm and cool undertones will always contain outfit combinations that feel subtly wrong, no matter how carefully the individual pieces were chosen for quality or fit. A capsule built entirely within one undertone family, by contrast, allows nearly any two pieces to be paired together successfully, which is the real reason some women seem to effortlessly mix and match while others struggle despite owning beautiful, expensive basics. The fix is checking undertone before you check the actual color name or shade. Hold two pieces together in natural daylight, not artificial store lighting, which can distort undertones considerably, and look specifically for whether they both lean toward yellow and orange, or both lean toward blue and gray. If one piece looks noticeably warmer or cooler than the other side by side, even if they are technically the same color family, that mismatch is very likely creating the exact subtle break we have been discussing throughout this entire video. Building your wardrobe around one consistent undertone family, rather than one specific favorite color, gives you an enormous range of outfit combinations that will always blend seamlessly together, rather than a smaller range of exact color matches you have to hunt for every single time you get dressed. I had a client, a warm and curious woman named Joan, who told me she owned dozens of neutral pieces, beige, gray, navy, cream, that she assumed should mix and match effortlessly with each other, yet certain combinations always felt slightly off in a way she could never quite name. She had started to wonder, only half joking, whether she had simply lost whatever instinct for matching clothes she once had, since the same pieces that felt effortless in her 20s now seemed to require constant second-guessing. When we laid her neutrals out together in natural window light, the pattern became obvious almost immediately. Roughly half of her pieces leaned warm, with a soft yellow or golden undertone running through them, while the other half leaned distinctly cool, with a blue or gray undertone instead. She had been mixing the two groups together at random for years, creating that subtle, unexplainable clash every single time she crossed between them. We did not change her body, and we barely changed her wardrobe at all. We simply sorted her existing neutrals into two piles by undertone, and she started building outfits from within a single pile at a time. Within a few weeks, she told me a friend had commented that her outfits suddenly looked more put together without being able to say exactly why. Nothing about her body or her actual color choices had changed. What had changed was which neutrals she was allowing to sit next to each other. She keeps her closet sorted into the two piles to this day, and she told me it removed an entire layer of decision-making from her mornings that she never realized had been weighing on her. That is the real power of understanding all 5 of these color secrets together, rather than fixing just one and calling it done. Your body was never the problem, and it never needed a slimming black dress or a perfectly matched color pair applied as some kind of correction. Color is simply a set of relationships that either support one continuous silhouette or quietly break it apart, and now you know exactly what to check for with your own eyes before you ever get dressed again. None of this requires an entirely new wardrobe, a dramatic budget, or waiting for some future version of your body before you allow yourself to feel put together in what you already own. It requires checking where two contrasting colors actually meet on your body, remembering that any rich, saturated tone can create the same slimming effect black does, anchoring bright colors intentionally instead of letting them float alone, building small color bridges between separate pieces, and above all, checking undertone consistency before you ever commit to a combination. Small, informed choices, made once while you are standing in front of your own closet in natural daylight, rather than discovered with quiet disappointment the moment you catch your reflection in a shop window. The next time you lay two pieces out on your bed, unsure whether they truly belong together, step outside for just a moment if you can, or move closer to a window. Natural daylight will tell you almost instantly whether those two colors share the same underlying warmth or coolness, something no amount of staring under artificial store lighting will ever reveal quite as clearly. That one small habit, checking undertone in real daylight before you commit to a combination, will save you more quiet disappointment over the years than almost any other single styling trick available to you. If any part of this felt like it was speaking directly to an outfit hanging in your own closet right now, I would love to know which secret surprised you the most. Was it the color blocking at the waist, the black myth, or that final detail about undertone consistency? Tell me in the comments below, because your story might be exactly what helps another woman finally understand that it was never her body working against her. Just one color relationship she never had the chance to learn about until now.